Hello, hello, hello there. Niyama Ashang here, leader of the Trailblazer Oasis. And I am thrilled to spend some time with you because right now we are in the midst of some really deep conversations around the journey of going from being an outlier to a trailblazer. And in these conversations, we're talking about the inner journey that people go on that accompanies the outer journeys that we see, right? The outer journey being the accomplishments, the successes, the results that people create. And we take the time here to slow down and understand the inner journey. Who did you need to become in order to create this? One of the things I like to do is also share my own inner journeys along the way. And one of the things right now is that you're experiencing this podcast here. And the element that is coming up for me is a distinction that has actually kind of helped lead to this being able to come to life. And the distinction here is produce versus reduce. So this year, Rich Liffin is one of my mentors, and he introduced me to wordplay and and looking into the etymologies of words. And I had realized that for the last 2 years, as I was building out the business, as I was trying to bring out my leadership, I was taking some time to really slow down. And I got into the point of slowing down since I was taking away a whole lot of things. And what that had done is it's given me an opportunity to really get depth. In that case, there I was reducing, and the element there that's really interesting is when you break down the word reduce, it actually comes from the Latin word ducere, which is to lead. All right, and so this is to the word reduce means to re is a prefix that means either back or again. Okay, so it's to lead back or to lead again, so to reduce. And so I had spent the last 2 years getting to the place of actually leading by taking things away, and leading by doing a lot of the same things that I had done beforehand. And now we're moving into a new space here. This new space is in the produce space, right? And pro is a prefix that means forward. So now we're leading forward. And the part of that is the production of these conversations here and allowing for the freedom of whatever needs to come to take place. The fun part now is I would say that there's the production side is something I had always done. There was an element of like, you need to get things done. You need to go out and create in the world. And it took me some time to really spend time building the skill set of reduction, all the while still leading. That's one of the things I love about the distinction, that the leadership never left. And now there's this element of along my journey here of having what I'll call range, the ability to play between full on production and reducing down to just the bare essentials, and being able to play all along that spectrum and lead in a much more fuller and integrated way. And that's what's working on me right now as we enter this conversation here, because I get a chance to, through this production, I get a chance to go ahead and really spend some time with someone who's really important to me. Today we get to I get to serve Hayden and go through his journey and explain and explore some of what who he became in order to create the things that he's created. And I'm going to introduce Hayden. I can feel it in this moment. Like, Hayden, I want to give you something that feels a little special for me. Hayden is someone that I consider to be an important, almost like running buddy, like pacemaker along the way. He is someone who has gone off and done incredible things in his life and with his work and for his clients. He's a master in the work that he does. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about it there, but he's an absolute master. But the way that he gets things done and the things that happen in our interactions, it actually raises my energy level. He calls things out of me that very few other people can. In fact, there's one moment in particular where I really got a chance to see the depths of my leadership, how far I'll be willing to go and how long I'll be willing to hold out in order to really stay true to my mission and to my purpose. And the one and only person that I felt in that entire room that could have called that out for me was Hayden. So I can feel the energy in me. I want to acknowledge that here. I think it's just there's a element of just pure joy and gratitude to be able to be in conversation with you, Hayden, right here, and to really explore your journey and go on from there. So I'm thrilled to be in service of you. Why don't we bring you on here?
Okay. All right, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
All right, there we go. Hi, thank you, Niyama, for having me. And thank you for that incredible introduction. It's I'm still getting comfortable with compliments or praise. It's something I am personally working on, actually. So, but thank you for that. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for just being so honest about the impact I've had on you and our time together. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the fun part about it all is that throughout it all, you're just being you. You're not, there's no element of like, I need to go out and do anything other than
Yeah.
working on yourself and continuing to move yourself forward. And it's really, there's something about that I really, really respect. And
Yeah.
I'm happy to get a chance to share that. So I've shared a bit about who you are to me here, but I love to really just take some time to actually get to know you for my own sake here to understand.
Yeah.
I see where you are right now, and I'm really curious about like your journey to this year. And the way that I want to explore it is through like the outer journey. If someone was going to like read your bio, read your like list of accomplishments, watch the movie of your life and say like, yeah, this is the highlight reel,
Yeah.
what is it that when if people who may not really know you, right? What is it that they see when they
Yeah.
or they think when they think of Hayden Lee?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think um, in terms, I'm very proud to be, a coach. And I think what the outside world sees as a lot of my accomplishments in the professional coaching industry. I mean, I think the first thing, like, I mean, it's interesting, you used the word master earlier in terms of like of a master at what I do, but it's quite literal, because I'm very proud to be, master certified coach, um, which is, the highest level of credentialing in the International Coach Federation. And that's something I'm really proud of because there's a really, really long journey of work to get there. For those who don't know, the International Coach Federation is the high standard of coaching in the world, and then there's different levels of credentialing, and the master credential is the highest credential. And there's only about 1,200 master coaches in the world, so I'm very very proud of that. So I think that's something that I find impressive, and I think to the outsider that's impressive. Um, and I, as a master certified executive life coach, had the privilege to work with all types of leaders and all types of like big companies, Fortune 500, Forbes 500, all that type of stuff. So I think so that's all stuff on my resume, that it seems impressive, but didn't start. I mean, definitely didn't start that way. I think I don't know the trajectory and journey of how I got to be able to work with leaders of multi-million dollar companies. It's quite an interesting story. But I think to the outside world, yeah, I mean, master certified coach, highly, trained, I train coaches all over the world. I certify coaches. I literally wrote a book about coaching. It's funny, because I can actually say, I wrote the book on coaching. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it. Working with really high achievers, high performers, high potential leaders. Um, I'm really passionate about leadership. I'm very involved in my community. I created a leadership program for Santa Monica. Well, that's really cool. I launched it last year, and this is in its second year. That's awesome. What else do what else do I do? I mean, I work with a lot of well, not a lot. I used to work with more entrepreneurs and small business owners, but really, just just pulling out of them what I know they have. Just helping them see what they don't see yet. That's just like my biggest passion is to, help people kind of, I wish they could see what I see, so I try to mirror for them what's possible for them, what they're capable of. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of, and I know, we have the same mentor, Rich Whitman, and I know when Rich was helping me a little bit with my headlines, the headlines, the flashy headlines has to do with some of the outcomes, that you've worked with clients, and some of the outcomes, I've had is, helping, like one of, Tony Robbins' financial planner, land $100 million like portfolio. Like I helped with that. It was pretty cool. Helping like, a top Hollywood agent continue to land A-list clients. That's something that I was able to be a part of. Helping, a really successful attorney at one of the world's most prestigious law firms, create her own department in the law firm. Like that's something I'm really proud of. Helping an entrepreneur who actually makes luxury watches, within a year of working together, launch his own luxury watch line, and make, over six figures within months, so then that's just very exciting because everything that my clients, like their success, I feel like it's part of my success, because if they're successful, then I feel like I was able to, finally help them see what I saw all along, right? But I think so, with, Rich, he's very good at helping draw those like flashy headlines. And for me, it's more of a challenge to really, I know how important it is for marketing to focus on outcomes, but I'm not as good at that because I really try to focus, what I'm passionate about is the journey, right? I'm just so passionate about what people learn about themselves, the shifts, in people's perspectives and how they see themselves and how they see the world and how they see themselves fitting into the world. But most of my engagements are 6 months minimum. But at the end of that 6 months, we probably have achieved external outcomes like make more money or launch my business or whatever, and that's all good. But I don't even the more I get more excited about at the end of 6 months, I ask them like, what have you changed in yourself? What have you learned about yourself? How do you see the world differently? How do you see yourself fit in the world differently? And like that's what gets me going, is really helping people own their place in the world and to take up space, to take up their space that is theirs. Yeah.
I have to really just acknowledge you for you doing the same and leading that through yourself here. Like what I in my mind as you were sharing this, I was like, I love how excited you are and how much you own what it is that you do, how much you own like the part of the process that you've been on and the journeys that you've gone on with others in a way that allows us to like really be able to be with you on the journey. It's interesting because there's no part of that comes off arrogant. It's just a thing, there's no part of it that's like it's just it's just ownership. And I really want to acknowledge you just modeling what it is that you bring out in others so well here. And it's something that really strikes me here. Kudos to you on what it is that you do. And thank you for doing the work to be able to play in both areas and to actually be able to share that, because it's hard for me to receive it, and at the same time you really do model that well.
Well, I think that a mindset shift, which Rich has mentioned, is it's not bragging if it's true, right? Mm-hmm. So that's really helped with me, because I think I think it's just it's interesting about paradox, right? It's like on the one hand, like I'm very competitive and I'm very proud of my accomplishments, but on the other hand, I'm also very like modest and humble. So I'm like love to brag about my achievements and my clients' achievements, but also on the same token, like I get weird when attention's on me, yet I also love it. So it's like this paradox of like, shouting out on the rooftops what I've done and sharing everything about everything that my clients have achieved, but also at the same time having this humility and modesty, which is also important to me. Like balancing that games, but that perspective shift of like, well, it's not bragging if it's true. That's really helped me, because everything I shared, because you said it doesn't come off as arrogant, and I'm happy it doesn't come off as arrogant because I'm just sharing what's true. I'm sharing, some of the things that I've seen in my clients and some of the, accomplishments that my clients have been able to have.
Absolutely. And I think that's, I spend a lot of time talking to outliers and people who do things that like they have things that are really wonderful accomplishments. And there's an element you had said like receiving, the element of actually being able to acknowledge and take in like the things that you've done. I feel like it allows for a lot of growth on top of that. And it's just something that
Yeah.
like honestly, it's hard to. I've found it to be something that slows down the growth process if we're not able to actually take the time to honor what it is that we have been
Yeah.
creating. So thank you for bringing that into here. And at the same time, I know that like you didn't just wake up with all these clients that were just there. You
Yeah.
didn't just come up with this here. So I'm less interested in the like what are the things that you did journey, which is usually
Yeah.
where I hear the stories here.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about like when you first started out, like you weren't like before you were master certified coach and like
Mm-hmm.
and the work that was in there, like when you first started out with this here, what's the inner journey that you needed to go on to become the person that you are? Maybe we can do this here by just sharing like what are one or two like crucial moments where you really notice that like, oh, I have to change something inside in order to play at my next level. If you can just take us to a story like that, I would love to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, thank you for asking. When you ask that question, the first thing that comes up is, I've always wanted to make like a huge impact on the world, right? And I've always known that, even at a young age, like I always felt like I was meant to like really help people on a big scale and to make a big difference. But then a little bit about maybe a part of like the humility and modesty comes in, and then it's like, well, I mean, like, can I really make a difference? But then, probably about what years? It's probably about maybe 10 years ago. Um, I was, working as a tutor. I was working as an SAT tutor, and I was also working in a restaurant, part time. And then I was also acting. So I'm actually so I was acting, and it was great. But then I also knew that I wasn't making the impact that I wanted on the world in terms of wanting to inspire people and motivate people. So then I decided at that time that I'm going to do something huge. I'm gonna change the world. And I remember there was this like interview I heard from this musician. I think it was on the radio. Yeah, on the radio. And he was a musician, and he's very talented, and I really liked his music. And the interviewer asked him, well, what if this doesn't work out? What's your plan B? And then the musician said, there is no plan B. And that was really like impactful for me. That still stuck with me. And I'm like, well, if I'm on a mission to change the world and I'm going to make a big impact, there's no plan B. Like that's what I'm going to do. And I don't think I knew exactly what it was going to be yet. Other than it just happened I came across this coaching program that was aimed towards a youth, and getting trained and certified to life coach, teenagers. And it was awesome because when I was tutoring the SAT, I came across all these extremely, bright and ambitious young adults, yet they were so like stressed out about school and wanting to get into the perfect college. And but they have like no sense of like self, right? They were just doing it because like they were supposed to, or their parents were telling them to, or society was like, you have to go to college and then you get a good job and then you make money, and then that's what success is. So then something clicked in me. I'm like, oh, I think this is how I'm gonna make an impact, is to help people like really find out what their purpose is, and I'm really gonna help people like take ownership of the power that's inside of them. And it started with I started working with youth, and it was really great. I did speaking engagements, and I was like speaking all over, and that was pretty successful. And but I mean, it's interesting though when you said earlier, like you're interested in the journey of like who I had to be, right? So yeah, so with that in mind, like I don't want to go too much into like the step by step,
Yeah.
um, but in terms of what that guy, like, there's no plan B. Like who I had to be is just like relentless, and fight, a warrior. I mean, just like fighting for my dream and fighting for my purpose, and resilient. Um, I mean, when I was starting out in my business, like as a coach for teens, like, people literally laughed in my face. People who, are friends would, say, who would want to listen to you? Like these words come out of people's mouths to my face. And it's just like, I didn't let it affect me. I think this like idea of grit and resilience, like, it's true. I think, yes, you need to have the skill set, and I believe in educating yourself, and I believe in training yourself. But something that you cannot learn from a book is finding that like strength inside of you to persist no matter what, and to realize that actually sometimes like the people that are closest to you are sometimes the ones that you feel like don't believe in you. And it's like, uh, it can be hard, but then you got to believe in yourself. Like that's the most important person who needs to believe in you. You cannot. Yes, it's important to have support. It's important to have like community members like you. It's important to have communities like 4PC, which is our wonderful group of supportive leaders and other world changers. But it doesn't matter outside who believes in you. First and foremost, you got to really believe in yourself. And now that I realize it, I think part of being a professional actor actually in LA probably helped with that, because being a professional actor in LA, it's like rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection. Like it's pretty much your professional rejectioner or rejectee. You're a professional rejectee. And maybe I never really maybe haven't put two together, because sometimes people do ask me like, how did you become so successful as an entrepreneur or business owner? And I guess it's like, well, try being a professional actor and get rejected multiple times a day for weeks at a time, months at a time, and getting literally doors slammed in your face. And then it just builds that muscle of people continually saying no, even though you can prepare. And especially when it comes to specific in acting, when it comes to specific roles, doesn't matter how much you want it, doesn't matter how much you prepare for it. Someone still can shut their door in your face, right? And I think that's such a great life lesson too. It's like life doesn't work out how you want it all the time, and I think you guys gotta be okay with that.
Yeah, it's really quite interesting when you talk about like that muscle that's formed there, and the you talked about being an actor and a professional rejectioner. I thought I got a smile.
Rejectee, I think. Right?
Rejectee, yeah. Yeah, you were the one that was receiving it, right?
Yeah.
Like it really brings up something for me, because so I used to be I was on the path to be an actuary, in a consulting company. I was doing retirement actuarial work. I had been taking exams for years, for about like 8 years. I've been taking exams on top of my job, and on top of being a 20-something-year-old in New York City. I'm like, this is my time to live it up. And instead, I'm spending hundreds of hours alone in a room doing difficult math problems for a career that at the time not many people knew about. And when you talk about like the impact or the way that like your acting had gotten you prepared and built the muscle for rejection. It just made me think about my own experience as an actuary, and when people were like, well, how are you going to be an entrepreneur? Like, where's that? Like, how are you going to be able to be successful with that? I'm like, well, I know how to spend hundreds of hours dedicated alone on working on something where not many other people understand it. Not many other people have seen it, and to put in all this time and to get to a place where either you pass or you fail based on like I can take that. I've done that in a career that like I didn't want to grow in. What if I was able to actually apply it towards what it is that I actually want? So
Yeah.
that that really that really resonated with me, and that element of being able to find some of those elements along our journey as we're becoming the world changing leaders that we are,
Yeah.
and making the impact that we are, to continue to bring that along the way. Yeah. So Hayden, like I love to spend some time here just being with you right now on the journey. We got a chance to see some of the things out there. I'm curious here. Uh, it's interesting the way that this works here is like there's service all throughout. So I used to go and say like I now want to turn into service. It's like it's not that. It's just I want to see what's going on for you in real time, right? So your journey continues, and for where you're heading to now, what would be something that would really, let's use the word impact, really impact the next legs of your journey here? What should we talk about here that can really support you with?
Well, something that's, I on my journey, I realized like how much I love coaching and how much I love coaches and how much I love training coaches. Because as you know, nowadays, like so many people call themselves coaches, and it's like, it's like people's the level of credibility and talent and skill set with coaches is like all over the map, right? And then especially someone who's dedicated so much time in professional training and has professionally, taught and trained, hundreds of coaches. I realized like that's important to me to really uphold the standard of professional coaching, right? So I'm creating this right now. I'm actually creating this, course with two neuroscientists, and to really go into the neuroscience behind coaching and the neuroscience of coaching. It's super fascinating. I, for one, never would in a million years would have. I mean, I remember taking neuroscience in college, and I thought it was like pretty boring. I don't think I like did very well in that class. But then I would never in a million years like thought I would be literally partnering up with neuroscientists, which today we signed an agreement of our partnership, and we're gonna invest in some marketing together. But it's like on the one, so one thing is like always stay open. Like don't like always stay open. Because you never, and also always be kind. Like always stay open and always be kind, because you never know in a million years who you're going to partner with and what opportunities will go your way. I was supposed to be pre-med actually, and I was pre-med in my early years in college, and then I totally did not go pre-med. But this idea, in some ways, how when you stay open with open heart and open mind, like sometimes like life has a funny way of like coming back full circle. And I mean, I'm totally going off on a tangent here, but I'll get back in another way. But it's like, even though I was a professional actor for many years, and it's been put on the back burner as I've been building my business, but how it's been coming back full circle though is now I'm actually coaching people in the entertainment industry. I actually have a meeting with this celebrity who might want me to help with coaching her team. And it's just interesting how everything comes up full circle. Like I thought I left pre-med, didn't think I would have anything to do with science, and now I'm partnering with neuroscientists with coaching. So just fascinating how when you're open, what opportunities land for you. But what I'm currently creating. Oh, go ahead, Niyama.
No, I just want to capture that right there. Like 'cause sometimes I can like it can just go by, but like the openness there of there's a lot about you that like continues to Rich would say transcend and include. It's like Oh, I was
Yeah,
doing pre med, but I left that world behind actually. But I stayed open, and now look at where like now I've been able to find the way that I can be in that space that's in alignment with me. Oh, I was
yeah,
an actor, and like now I decided to put my focus in other areas, and I've been able to find a way to continue to contribute into that industry
yeah,
in a different way there. And I just really just want to like slow down and acknowledge the openness that's there and the uh, new ways that you found alignment with that along the way.
yeah, yeah. No, thank you for that insight. Yeah, transcend and include. Yeah, that totally applies there.
So how can I serve you? Keep going.
Well, so this, yeah, so I'm creating this course with these neuroscientists, and it's really meant to serve really serious, like trained coaches. Um, so that, and it's, it's for coaches who, I just want to find a way to, I mean, this is one of the ways. I just want to really find a better way to like serve coaches to really elevate the professional coaching industry because, um, I guess I just really, I think I want to own it more that, because here's what sometimes gets in my head is a little bit like because Rich obviously I talk to him often, and this idea of like needing to differentiate yourself, right? And and he often his way of working with coaches is different than how I would work with coaches, right? But then his way of working with, but this idea of like needing to be different, and everyone's doing that, and then then it gets in my head a little bit of it like, but is everyone serving coaches? Like, am I actually really serving coach people in a powerful way if I'm focusing on coaches wanting to, deepen their practice and deepen their skill sets? So once again, it's like this paradox of like what wanting to be, doing something different, but then am I not? I don't know. So that's where I'm at. I mean, I'm so excited about this project, and but then I guess I'm wondering if serving coaches in this way is making an impact or not.
That was the question that was going through my mind as you were saying this here. Like, I am, I am. I was what's in my mind. This is me hiding nothing, holding nothing back. I'm like the king of differentiation. I'm like I love seeing what makes people different and being
Yeah,
able to help them own that there, right? So like this is if this was a conversation around that, we can do that. But I like to me, I think it comes back to that first thing you were saying around is this the impact that you want to be making? Like, does this, or is this even in alignment with the impact that you feel? Let's make sure that that's there first and foremost. Because I'm hearing the who am I questions, or is this actually it, or like
mm,
there's some of that's underneath it all. Before we get into any of that, I just want to just check in with you. Does this feel like it's directionally aligned with you for where you are right now, and for the as a master certified coach, and as all the experiences that you've had, and with the standard? I love that word standard. It's such a powerful word. With the standards that you hold for yourself and for others, does this feel like it's in alignment?
yeah, that is a great question, and it's a hell yes.
So yeah,
Because
yeah.
what comes up for me is having trained so many coaches and in the classes that and I'm with these coaches for 6 to 12 months as I'm training them, right? And I am a passionate trainer. Like, I'm a passionate coach, and I just, when I believe in something and I believe in people, like, I cannot hold in my energy and enthusiasm and passion. And I know you've seen it, right? But then what happens though, and I'm with these, coaches for 6 to 12 months, and I see their passion too. But I see their spark and their passion, and they're ready to change the world. But then what saddens me though, but then after they finish their training, it's at they, most of them drop off the face of the earth, or they quit and they give up, and they just like, just so sad because they just stopped. So it's like, it's really, that's why I just feel this need to, I was talking to a book coach about this thing, and it's like, I feel like it's my like war cry, or it's like it's like my like Braveheart, like saying others, like trying to just rally these coaches, and it's like, let's get out there. The coaches can help change the world, right? If every single coach had empowered clients to be their best self and to do what matters to them, the world would be a much better place, right? And I'm like, but I have this like fire inside of me to like help coaches be more successful, elevate themselves, but most importantly, like to not give up. So when you ask me, is in alignment with what I want? I'm like, yeah, it really is. And I can't shake it. And I think maybe part of my struggle is maybe like I was maybe wanting to not work. Oh, yeah, I think I know what it is. I think part of me was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't work with coaches because it's such low hanging fruit, right? It's low hanging fruit in the sense of like I'm surrounded by coaches all day, every day. I know so many coaches. It's low hanging fruit. Don't work with coaches, and it's like there's so many, but I need to get over that, because it's what I want to do. So.
Yeah, let's slow down with that there, because like when you say there's a few different things that come up, I there's an element of that last part that I just really, really get. I'm like, I'm working with trailblazers, world changers, world leaders. I'm like, should I be talking to presidents of states? Should I be like, and it's like, it gets in my head, I'm like, but I know people who are up to incredible things. And honestly, you said low hanging fruit. And some of the questions that come to my mind a lot is like, am I playing with low hanging fruit right now? Am I just doing what's here? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that keeps coming up for me whenever I find myself like really playing that game is, oh wait, the thing that comes to my mind is I actually see a picture, and you're actually in it, and it's a picture of me at a table of world leaders, and what I realize in that picture is that it's not the world leaders of today, the people who are leading the world right now. They have the people that are supporting them. They're on their journey and they're making things happen now. But we're at the way I look at it, we're at a critical point in human history where there's an inflection point that's here, and we have a chance to help usher in the next generation, the next set of world leaders, and to make sure that they have the coaching skills that they need, or they're able to really be with the people, and whatever it is that you see as part of your vision. Like, this is our time to help cultivate them such that when they're fully stepped into that position of leadership or world leadership or changing the world in the way that they see their impact, we are in the room with them. And so that's been something that has really been meaningful to me to look at and say, like, it's not just low hanging fruit. It is exactly like, this is the fruit that is going to ripen into the actual leaders that shift things. What, like, when I share that, what comes up for you with that?
Well, the metaphor that you took of low-hanging fruit and really kind of reframed it towards like, this is the fruit that will ripen, I think resonates with me the most about what you said. Because it's, I don't know if we're going to go with this gardening metaphor, but it's like, me focusing on really helping coaches be more powerful and be more badass and not give up. It's like I'm training like the harvesters, or like I'm training like the farmers, or whatever this metaphor is. And I think that's a very powerful metaphor. Yeah. I guess like why am I beating myself up for wanting to serve those who are already in front of me,
Yeah, because it's really fun. We were just going through your outer journey, right? And you were talking about like how you started out at like SAT tutoring, and your first thing you're now a master certified coach who's literally being flown across the world to speak on different stages around the work that you do, right? And it's cool because I'm getting a chance to get to know you better as well. And to think that like you're like, I was tutoring, and I entered your entry into coaching was doing youth coaching, and now you're like Fortune 500 companies, Forbes 500 companies, like all these things out that it would almost look like how, you know, but you like from what I'm hearing you, part of your success journey is working and serving the people that are around you, and then eventually that group will shift. It might be coaches that, and it feels like low hanging fruit here, and then eventually, as you increase the number of coaches that go on and decide that they want to be master certified coaches, and you double that number because of your impact or whatever, you might find a new place to go and play. But it almost feels like it isn't low hanging fruit. It's a place that you can actually make an impact today.
Hmm. Yeah, when you say that, what comes up for me is like this idea of exponential, right? Exponential growth, and like I can serve so many people like today, like literally, like really serve coaches be more powerful today who will want to hone their skills and their professional skill set, and but it's like exponential impact because coaches then have clients, right? And then it's like this idea of, yeah, I really like that. This starting, I guess, what is that? There's that quote like start where you are, do what you can, use what you have, something like that. And sometimes I forget that, like I'm trying to create. Well, I always like creating, and I think it's good to always create, but then sometimes I'm also trying to create something like bigger than, not something bigger. I'm trying to create, like make something. All right, this metaphor is coming up for me. I try to like I want to create like this really awesome dish, right? Like a cooking metaphor now, right? But in order to like make that super awesome dish, like there's like different ingredients that I don't have yet, and but I forget sometimes how like stocked my pantry is of amazing, awesome ingredients and spices and seasonings, things that I could make a really good dinner now. But I'm always thinking about, but I want to make like this cool, elaborate souffle. I don't have those ingredients right now. So I'm always think. So I think that's a kind of a cool thing. It's like maybe it's this fear, not fear from me. I don't think. I don't unless it's or judgment of like the low hang. Go back to low hanging fruit, like this judgment of yeah, what's like shooting fish in a barrel, right? Am I like, because I don't want to, maybe is it like a fear, like I don't want to be seen as someone who, shoots fish in a barrel. I mean, if you know so many coaches and you work with coaches, it might be, is it like seen as like predatory to like then want to coach coaches or make my former students turn them into clients, I know it's not, but this is just a story I tell my head.
Yeah,
Stories I tell my head. Yeah.
yeah. No, I hear it. It feels real. Um, there's an element here. I guess the question in my mind is like, what would it say about you if you did go for, if you were shooting fish in the barrel, if you were working with the coaches around you, if you were, what would that say about you if you actually just went through with it as you see it coming to life right now?
What would it say about me?
Yeah.
It would say that there's a huge need for aspiring coaches to get the support they need to step up. It's like, and I can fill that need. So yeah, and it would say about me that I seize opportunities. It would say about me that I, serve the people who need to be served in this moment. And it's funny, as coaches, sometimes when you flip the script on yourself, and it's like, well, what would you say if you had a client who is around all these people that need their coaching, but they're like not coaching them? You'd be like, what's wrong with you? You know, it's like everything you ever need, everything you've always needed has always been inside of you and right around you, right? So like it's so easy to
Yeah.
forget. You know?
Yeah. It's taking me to the desert. It's like you're in the desert, you have all this water on your back, and there's all these people that are asking, and they're thirsty and they're dying around you of thirst, and they're like, can you please give me a cup? And you're like, I think it's going to be a little bit too easy for me to just give you this water. Yeah. I think I have to go across like the next dune. Yeah, there's an element of that comes up here. And for some reason, I'm getting this vision, as you were saying here, around like the exponential part, where it's like, because I've seen, like, in talking about your journey, you have shifted quite a bit, and there's a way that this is going to come full circle in a totally different way, that you're not like, that's another decade away before you're even able to realize that, you know. So there's elements right here of like, this is, if this is where you are, like I see you said that you're really proud of being one of 1,200 master certified coaches in the ICF, and I think that there's an element here of like, for the level of impact that you're looking to have, 1,200 going to be enough? Is 1,200 going to actually be able to like shift the consciousness of this world? But if people are giving up and leading, is that number actually going to be able to continue to grow? You know, and there's an element that there's a part of this here that makes me feel like, in some of the work that you're doing here, you're helping to build up a base of people who can continue to do the work, so that when you go off to whatever else comes next, because there will be something different for you, it's just the way that your journey has gone, there's still other people who can continue fighting a good fight, who can continue the war cry going forth, and you don't have to be the one, not the one, but one of the few that's actually doing it.
Yeah. That's very powerful, the insight of I get this I use the Braveheart metaphor, so then leading me to this like army metaphor of like, I need to assemble my army of like really masterful coaches if it's going to make the impact that we need, right? The impact that I want. And I, you know, you know, being one of 1,200 coaches, and I wear that, you know, proudly on my sleeve, because it's such an accomplishment. But the flip side though is like, by the same token, that's not nearly enough. So kind of, you know, that saying, you know, which we've heard, you know, it's like leadership is about building or creating more leaders.
Yeah.
Right. So I need to create more master coaches, because more master coaches are coaches that have put in the thousands of hours of work and the hundreds of hours of training, and I think it's, you know, there's a dedication to the craft, you know, that I really I take seriously, and I really I like the craft and the art and science of coaching, and
yeah,
I want others to embrace it. Yeah.
That's like, I think there's so much in there, Hayden. It's like you've said a lot of times, and really it's about not giving up, you know? And so I think about the people who are on their master coach journey and are at a place where they're not at the beginning stages, they're squarely in the middle, and they're like, is this thing even working? You know? Or there's somewhere else out there, and it's like, and it's really interesting because it feels like it's creating, but I feel like there's a part of you that's just like helping them to continue the journey. It's like, it's a long journey. How can I help you like stay in the game? Like there's that element that's really distinct around what you're saying. Like, I feel you every time you talk about this, like not giving up, you know? And there's an element of that it feels different, and I want to go help a brand new coach, like be able to, like, it's like, no, you love working with people who are dedicated. You love people who are in it, and they've put it. I was working toward being an actuary. I get the credential path. I was working toward being an actuary for 8 years. I was 2 exams away from getting my first credential, and I was like, this isn't for me, you know?
Yeah.
But if I had so I know what it's like to see people drop off. That's my first business was around helping people stay in the game or get in the. I'm a get in the game kind of guy, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm a little curious if you are a get in the game or if you're a stay in the game kind of person.
For others or for myself?
For others, like right now, in terms of what is being called out of you.
Well, out of those two distinctions, I think I'm more of a stay in the game,
Yeah.
right? Because I mean, that's wow, I've never thought about this. I think I want to work with finishers. I want to help
Yeah.
people finish. Like because I think some coaches are called to work with the starters. I think I'm called to work with the finishers.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something there's something really. I'm getting getting tingles on me right now.
Me too. I'm writing this down. I'm serious. Like I'm writing it down. Like it's such a great distinction for me too. It's like I want to work with the people who want to finish what they fucking started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a rarefied space, my friend. It's not I'm I don't know where it's a rarefied space. You going to where they are is not fish. It's not a fish in the barrel thing. Going doing
Yeah.
there are even amongst every single coach out there, because you've talked about it here. Anyone can be a coach. There are all these people that are calling out. There are certain subset of people who are taking this incredibly seriously, and they are falling out of the game. And you there's something about finding those people amongst yes, maybe low hanging fruit, but there's a ton of different trees out there. What's the fruit that you're looking for?
Yeah.
You know, and to go find that it doesn't need to be all the way up in the but it's just it's a lot. It's an overgrown forest or overgrown garden, and your job is to find that low hanging fruit, the right type of fruit.
Well, I just realized that I think we need to shift the metaphor. I don't see it as low hanging fruit anymore because now I'm seeing it as you know, what's a marathon? 26.1 miles or something like that. Like, I'm not called to work with the people on mile 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I want to get in there when they're at mile 17. They've fucking done the work. They show the passion. They're in it, but they're about to quit. And I'm like, no, you've come this far. I'm going to get you to the finish line. And that really revs me up. It's like the coaches that have put in the work, they put in the time, they want to make the difference. They're not totally newbies, but they're at this crossroads. It's like they're almost over the hump. They're almost at that finish line. And it's like, yeah, I'm called to work with those who want to finish what they started. Yeah. That's very powerful. That really resonates with me.
Yeah. So why don't we let that sit there? I'll let you in on a little secret. I talked a lot about trailblazers because my thing is about world joy. And every time I talk to people, I'm like, I have to help. I'm building out the trailblazers. In my mind, they're world joy trailblazers. You don't have to you have to think of yourself as a world joy trailblazer, but you doing the work that you're doing is going to elevate the consciousness of this world. It's going to shift the direction that this world is going in. And that's why I'm so honored to spend time with you, because you have your own tribe with your own things. You are going to help people finish out there, you know, and we're still so aligned in here. So I'm thrilled that we got a chance to spend here. Let's slow things down. Let me leave you with that there. And thank you for playing so full out. Let me acknowledge you for playing so full out in this conversation and for going for what really mattered here. Literally, I got the goosebumps and I could feel it, my entire body. And usually it's my leg or my arm. I was like, oh, this person is going to change the world through this here, through what you do. So Hayden, let me know. And what I'll do here, I can actually feel myself committing here to myself is being that person for you, because that what we give to others is sometimes harder for us to find. So if there's ever a time where it feels like you might be in a stage of feeling like maybe I'm going to give up or whatever it is, whatever that give up happens to be, it may not be as literal, feel free to call me because I got your back.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes. Thank you. This was amazing. Yeah.
Hey, Onyama here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and then go ahead and leave one of your insights from today's video in the comments below. If you're looking to take this deeper, you can go and watch another video, or you can go to niyama.com/tribe to get exclusive invitation to our tribe member only events. I'll see you soon.